Hello everyone. So we discussed the addition and subtraction techniques already, and now we will continue the session with the multiplying tricks and all. Now the videos would be a little faster, and we would shoot and upload them very quickly. Uh, so yeah, the multiplying tricks. We'll start with the very basic one. So it goes like this. If I have numbers like, let's say, 24 times 28, something like this. Now, although I mean there are no specific way that I recommend to do a multiplication or anything. I mean this thing can be done. This multiplication itself can be done in at least 2 to 3 different ways of shortcuts, you might call it. So I'll show you 3 ways of doing this particular multiplication itself. One, uh, this is one of my favorite ones. You can do 26 minus 2 into 26 plus 2. Now, if you remember, 26 square is 676. So this is basically 676 minus 4, which is 672. Another way, this can be generalized for any sort of which one. We can take any one of the numbers close to a multiple of 10. So something like 24 into 30 minus 24 into 2. And this part would be 720, and this part would be 48. So 720 minus 48, again small little thing, 720 minus 48. I hope you have understood the multiplication subtraction trick. So that would be 722 minus 50 when you are calculating mentally. So this would be 672. Again, we can also apply another process here. This is the 24 is very close to 25, you should observe here. So I can say this is 25 into 28 minus 28. Now, a small little thing here, whenever you're multiplying numbers like 5, 25, or even 125, sometimes even 20, I mean, these kind of numbers, I mean, it's always a judgment call between using a 5 or using a 2. So, for example, here you're multiplying 25. Instead of multiplying 25, what we can do is we can divide by 4. So what I'm saying is we can treat this as something like this, right? And obviously this 28 by 4 is a little simpler than 25 into 28, right? So this is 700 minus 28. So that is again 672, right? Now, if see, there are a lot of other processes in multiplying tricks to be precise, but if we focus on the observation part, so for one single multiplication of two numbers, we are getting 3 different processes. Now the question is which to apply. That is the most important question you got to ask yourself. Uh, it's not always that the first thing that comes to your mind, because while preparation, if you don't force yourself to think about some other process, then no other process is going to come to your mind. The only thing that is going to come to your mind is 24 into 28 is 8 into 4, 32. Then 8 into 2 plus 4 into 2, cross multiply, and then you have 2 into 2. ठीक है, carry over adjust कर लिया, answer आ गया. But still, that is something to do. If you practice one of these processes, this would be lightning fast, because I would, in this question, I would have applied this process, but that is personally my choice. You could have favored this process, you could have favored this process. So unless you try out these kind of processes yourself, you're never going to learn something new out of it. So that is what I'm trying to imply here. Now I am going to discuss few things which are in general accepted as the general multiplication techniques, you might call that. So let's discuss one of them first. So let's take two numbers, something like 104 and let's say 92. Now if you look at these two numbers, both are close to 100, right? Now again, if somebody has already observed that this is 98 plus 6 and 98 minus 6, kudos to that person. But if that doesn't come to your mind, I'm going to give a generic process here as well. As both the numbers are close to 100, what we are going to do is, first thing, we are going to calculate the deviation of each number from 100. So deviation from 100 as the base here. So this has a deviation of 4 and this has a deviation of -8. Now either we can do 92 plus 4 or we can do 104 minus 8. You can observe that both the cases you get 96 as a result, right? And then what you do is the next step, you just put two zeros behind it. That is what the trick would say. But the understanding is wherever you're taking the deviation from. So as we're taking the deviation from 100 in this case, we will multiply 100 to this number, and multiplying 100 to this number is basically putting two zeros behind it. And then what we are going to do is we are going to multiply these two deviations across each other. So 4 and -8 multiplied would be -32. Remember, the sign is important. So 9600 minus 32, what would the value be? 9568. So that is the result of this multiplication. So you can apply this process. I'll give you another example of this to better explain this. So suppose I have stuff like 54 into 57. Now a plus b into a minus b would be a little difficult because the average is not an integer. It is 55.5 here. So 54 into 57, again here we will take the deviation from 50 here because both are close to 50. Now this thing again, I'm sorry I did not repeat this earlier, I guess. In this case we can take deviation from any multiple of 50, okay? Because multiples of 50 would be easy to multiply later on. That's the basic idea. So try to take the deviation from any multiple of 50. It can be taken from any number, but taking a deviation from 50 is a little easier than the other numbers because of that second step where you need to multiply the deviation. So the first step is after calculating the deviations, either adjust one of these to the other number's deviation. So 57 plus 4, so that is 61. And then what we need to do, as in the previous question, we need to multiply 61 to 50. So 61 times 50, 60 into 50 is 3000 plus 50, so 3050. And or you could have also done 61 half is 30.5 into 100, so that is 3050. And then you multiply these two across, so that is plus 28, and that gives us a result of 3078. So this deviation process works for any sort of numbers, but one little thing that I would like to point out before I move to the next video is sometimes we might have a number, or I mean a multiplication of two numbers wherein they are not close to the same multiple of 50, right? So 54 into 97. Now people make a mistake that they try to take a deviation of this number from 50 and this number from 100. So that would not work. That is not going to work. But what is going to work is we can shift this number. In this case, this is simpler. We can shift this number to something which is close to 100 as well. So what we can do is we can understand that this multiplication is nothing but 108 into 97 divided by 2, right? And we can apply the deviation process here and then simply divide the result by 2. So I would leave this as an exercise for you guys. I'm sure you can do this, but try to apply the deviation process. You have 108 minus 3, 105, 0, and then you have minus 24. So 10476 divided by 2 should be 5238. So that is how fast you can become once you start understanding and applying this process into multiple application and multiple multiplication. That is, sorry for that. So thanks again for joining in, and we will upload the videos now very quickly. Sorry for the little delay here, and enjoy the session. Thank you.